Josh Heupel, year one,
Yep.
successful, excitement abounding back in Knoxville again. This guy knows a little bit about that. VFL, now Kansas City Chiefs, finished his rookie season on the offensive line. Trey Smith on the line with us. Trey, we appreciate it. What's going on this morning?
What's up, y'all, man? Thanks for having me on, man. Just doing the off season.
First off season with no school, no class, no 6 a.m. mat drills, no 5 o'clock mat drills. Trey, how that feel, man?
It's different, man. Having this much free time, just be able to wake up, and sleep in, it's a great feeling.
So you're a thoughtful guy. You always have been. So what did you learn in year one as a football player from that standpoint, and also about yourself as a man going through the process of being a rookie in the National Football League?
Yeah, man, it was a huge learning year. Just a lot of it, man, was like understanding how mental the game is in a lot of different ways. For me, I always was worried about how physical the NFL was going to be a lot of times, but in reality, obviously it's a physical league, but a lot of the situations I deal with on a day-to-day will be more of a mental thing. So just having confidence every time you step on the field and no one can mess with you.
Yeah. Trey, I want to go before that part. Jay mentioned the mental. Everybody that we knew, and I talked to you during the process and everything about it, man, it's like, dude, Trey, you got to get Trey. And you went in the 6th round. 2 rounds before me. Shout out to the undrafted folks. Got to throw a little joke out there every once in a while, Trey. You hear my pain in my heart, but I'm sure it's there with you too, man. Like that chip on your shoulder, the idea that, look, you want to go in and start. You knew you were capable of, but when it finally came down to you getting picked in the 6th, what was your thought to everybody that had passed upon you at that point?
Just prove wrong. For me, it was just like, all those teams that pretty much passed on me didn't have a belief in me. As a player, obviously they didn't want to take a gamble or an investment on me as a player and a person. So for me, it was upsetting. But at the end of the day, it is business. I had to learn that, firsthand with my experience. But for me, I just wanted to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
Was it a humbling experience to go through something like that where, you were seen in one way, you were talked about in one way, and then it took a while for a team to give you a chance, and one that we were all sitting there just like, how in the world is he still on the board? He's going to prove a whole lot of people wrong, but at the same time, that's got to be difficult. We've seen guys that have fallen just in the first round, deep towards the end of the first round, and what they've talked about, the chip that it's created. So how much did that motivate you? And just going through that process, do you feel like maybe you end up coming out better for it?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a humbling experience. For me, it was a gut check, For me, regardless if I would have been a 6th round, undrafted, first round, my mentality would have stayed the same. I'm trying to come in, prove myself to every team and organization. When I look back on it, I'm really excited that it happened that way. Kansas City's a great place, great fans, great people, and we have a winning culture of football. And, being able to play on this team and the experience I got this year, just being around that type of culture and that standard, for me, is priceless, man. I really don't want it any other way.
Yeah. It's funny how it all switches up for you, man. And I got to ask you, too, being a young guy, going to that team fresh, recent Super Bowl, but not only that, the quarterback that you play for, is he that fun to be around? Is it that exciting to play for him? And I guess the other question is, too, with all of that, do you walk in the stadium and say, man, I'm blocking for Patrick Mahomes, and we got a shot to win every friggin' game?
Man, yeah, I know in preseason, even back down to like training camp, OTAs, just being able to watch him work up close, it's one of the craziest things. Seeing some of the little side throws he makes, the different things he is, how elusive, how crafty he is on film, even in prior years' film, it's crazy to think about blocking for him. In 2019, when he won his Super Bowl, I was just a little, fan of the crowd watching the Miami. And being able to, block for a guy like that, it's unreal, man. And, Pat's the man. Great dude, great leader to be around, never really too big for anything, and has always treated me well. So, it's an honor to be out there and block for him. And, like you said earlier, anytime 15's on that field with the ball, you don't know what's going to happen. We always have a chance. So it's been awesome working with him.
How does he command a huddle? I mean, obviously, you just used the word leader to describe him, but what's it like just having him speaking in that huddle, the way guys are dialed in and just totally believing and confident that he's going to be able to do the right thing for you?
Yeah. I think it all goes back to, like, no moment's too big for him. You know, he's been in the big-time game, big-time situations. And, you know, with some of the players we have, like Kelce, you know, Tyreek, Byron Pringle, McCole, having those guys, you know, in big moments locking in, you know, Pat has a great command of that. Always making sure the O-line's right. You know, helping out Reid with calls and declares. But, you know, he does a great job directing everything in the field. I know, like, the 13-second situation, even with Buffalo, you can just sort of see the magic happen with him directing everything. And just, like, the chemistry between him, Kelce, and Tyreek, you know, it's crazy to watch, man.
Yeah, that's so interesting. When you say, you know, no moment's too big, I just instantly thought of Coach 30 pissing down my leg.
Yes, we all were.
But Trey, going into camp this year for you, man, I know we talked a little bit, but you took that on by yourself. And the one thing you're going to learn every year going into camp is, man, it's a battle against my teammates. And you coming in with the young, you know, fire that you got under you, who's the one guy that just tried you every single day? Was it Chris Jones or was it Frank Clark that just went at you? Was like, oh, I'm breaking him in today.
Nah, man. I guess I would have to say it's Chris, man. We also had another dude named Turk.
Yeah.
Really good, man. Extremely twitchy, but, you know, just battling Chris every day in camp last year, man, that'll teach you real quick to grow up real, because Chris brings it, man.
Yeah.
You know, size, speed, just intelligence in terms of, like, setting you up for certain things later on in practice. So I would definitely say it's Chris Jones, man. I really enjoy playing against him, man. He gets me really good.
But on your bad days, though, like you said, you learned the mental part of the game more and more, and you have a strong mindset anyway. But I guess the question I'm asking is the transition from college to pros, where they tell you, hey, everybody has a bad day. Did you have to learn that very fast too?
Yeah, I definitely did. Just not being so hard on myself, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're pros too. You know, they're getting paid, you know, the same money I'm getting paid to do these things. So, you know, you're gonna get beat eventually. So that's something I had to understand, you know, just, you know, once a play happens or something bad happens, you know, just clear it out of your mind and just keep playing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you were in the midst of the game, so it might have been hard for you to really figure this out. But did you realize in the moment that Chiefs-Bills game that you were a part of something that was going to go down as one of the greatest playoff games in the history of this league? Were you able to at any point just kind of understand how good the play was from both teams in that game?
I think I didn't fully take it in until, like, the game was over. You know, when we were going back and forth, boom, they score, we score, even to the last couple of seconds when our last drive, you know, the whole time we were sort of like, man, you know what? You know, however it shakes out, that's how it shakes out. But we're going to give our best effort out there. So, you know, I think when it happened and Kelce scored that touchdown, everyone stormed the field. I mean, when those fireworks went, I was like, dang, man, like, that was special. You know, I remember in my car riding back with my dad, I was like, that game was special. You know, you can just sort of feel it.
Yeah. That's for sure, man. And speaking of, you know, putting that plan together, everybody makes a huge ordeal, and they are huge guys as far as Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. The play calling from them, man, was it something that they simplified it more than it seems complex, or those guys are just geniuses when it comes down to their job?
Yeah, those guys are genius, man. Being able to be a part of this offense and just seeing how they see things from a football perspective has elevated my game a lot more. You know, I mean, it's almost magical, man. Some of the plays we call, it's almost automatic, you know. But, you know, watching them, being able to work in that system, you know, it's really fun, man.
What are the differences and I've obviously talked to Ramon about this many times, but what are the differences for you in terms of technique and just mental and all of that kind of thing between what you did in college and then kind of the learning curve about becoming an offensive lineman and a successful one for a good franchise in the NFL?
Yeah. For me, man, I think the thing that even I still struggle with a little bit is just, like, you know, patience, especially in the pass setting situations. And then just, you know, understanding that everything doesn't have to be muscle. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. You can block people with your lower half of your feet. And for me, that's something I'm still learning how to do. At Tennessee, man, I could run off the ball and knock somebody out, roll someone like 15 yards off the ball. In the league, it's different. You got them grown men inside. There's a lot more technique involved, especially when you get to your better pass rushers and things. But for me, it's just like being more in control of your body and your movements, and being accurate and precise with your hands.
Yeah.
You can negate a lot of stuff with that.
Trey, I got to ask you this too, man, simply because you're a Tennessee kid, born and raised here, played at the University of Tennessee. But when you came to the state this year to play the Titans, man, number one, how bad did you want to win that game? And secondly, what was the support for you also?
Yeah, man, I wanted to win that game.
I've been there, man.
Man, it sucked because, I've been to Nissan Stadium for Mr. Football and stuff and playing there for the first time. I was amped, man. And, support, I had almost like 20 family members there at that game.
Yeah.
That was a big day for me, even though the outcome wasn't what we wanted. The experience of just playing down there, man, I mean, that meant the world to me. It was like a childhood dream come true, in a lot of ways. I've never been to a Nissan Stadium football game, but, I played on the field. That's crazy, that is.
Yeah.
Trey, how difficult was it to watch Georgia win a national championship?
Oh, sick to my stomach. Sick to my stomach, man. I was praying, and it's the worst thing I had to pray for Bama, man. I'm sitting up.
Are you throwing up right now?
Hey, Georgia cannot win, man. Georgia cannot. When they won, I was sick, man. I had to go straight to sleep.
Yeah, and then it's Georgia guys on that team you had to deal with. How many times did you throw up, like legitimately?
a little 2 times probably in the mouth, when I saw them raising the trophy up, and I was like, come on, man.
Because that's the thing, Trey, be honest. Like, I've told people this, no matter who we play, we always felt like we can get Georgia. And now Georgia's got this friggin' trophy, Trey.
No.
I know. Okay, so moving on to the Vols, man. What did you think of, Heupel? I know you've met him and, you've been around when you get that opportunity. Where you think we're at right now?
Yeah, I think Coach Heupel did a great job, fantastic job, especially in his first year. I guess I could probably sense the progress more from players I talk to every day.
Mm-hmm.
And, just listening to them, I think they're extremely happy with the results. And, I'm really excited to see what they do this season. They bring in some good talent. And I'm just excited to see where it ends up, having some real excitement about Tennessee football and, the possibility and chances of the future. I mean, it looks really bright.
Yeah.
You guys obviously you played Cincinnati just a couple of weeks ago, and so many people talk about the Rams' defense. But give us a perspective on Cincinnati's defense. I think they have not been talked about enough in terms of how well they've played. What challenge do the Rams have waiting for them?
Yeah, it's something about that defense. I can't really explain it. We had really good success against them 2 times, especially in the first half. Running the ball, being physical with them, and obviously second half didn't go the way we wanted, but they have some really good players up front. DJ Reader is a good interior player. I believe Sam Hubbard's one of the ends, and the other end, Trey Hendrickson. He might have like 18 sacks this season. So, in my opinion, they're a pretty underrated group. When they want to play well and play fast and do the things they do it pretty well. But we'll see. I think the Rams have a great offensive line as well. And, Stafford's been on fire as well. So it'll be an interesting matchup for me. I just think the Rams defense has the advantage a little bit.
Yeah. And speaking of just that, who was your more challenging defender you had to see this year? We saw you mauling folks, of course. Jeff Schwartz putting pictures up, and Duke Manyweather. Like we were team Trey this year when it comes down to your blocking. But like you said, everybody wins and loses those battles. So who was a guy or a couple guys that you like, okay, next time around, you're going to have to get it?
Yeah. I put almost anybody on the Redskins D-line. They're pretty elite, man. Like John Allen, Daron Payne, and Matt Ioannidis.
That's the reason they were fighting on the sideline.
Those guys
you know what I say, Trey? Bama guys.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, I thought Kenny Clark was great this year. Green Bay as well. And, in my division, obviously this guy named Draymond Jones from Ohio State. He plays for the Broncos. I think he's great. So, those guys got to be really on my P's and Q's when I play them again. I'll be ready.
Mm-hmm. Trey, are you guys paying attention to Eli Apple and keeping receipts on all the stuff that he's saying about your teammates?
Man, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to mention that.
You see where he's at?
He's in a very dark place, Mon.
He's in a dark place. Yeah, I hadn't seen anybody he's like Suge Knight, man. He's like Suge Knight. But besides that, though, man, like the guy that he's talking about, mainly Tyreek, watching him, and you've been around some dynamic athletes all your life. What is he and Kelce on the field, man? Those two dudes in general, like, what in the world are they?
Yeah. Tyreek, first off, is like a mutant or something, man. I've never seen – I didn't think people were able to move like that. Just being able to beat people that have the angle on them. What was it, Buffalo game? The guy he threw the peace sign up to was like 2 yards in front of him. It's just it's little things like that just showing how much of a freak he is, man. And he's also a great guy. And you have Kelce, man. Kelce is just heart, man. Like one of the coolest guys I've ever been around. Welcomed me with open arms to the team. Worked with Butch Jones a little bit when he was at Cincinnati, but man, Kelce is just awesome to be around. Ultimate competitive spirit, and he's Mr. Clutch. I mean, anytime you got to close it out this year, Kelce's always been there. But both great guys, uber talented, man. Just special players, special people. It's really a blessing to be around both of them in the game.
Guess we're about to close up with them in a second. Mm-hmm. I'll ask you two. One, what do you have to say to kids from this state who got parents that live here also about being in the state and the encouragement you can give them as far as moving out? Because that's one thing we've always kind of dealt with here in the state of Tennessee is the talent. But here you are making it happen in the league also, and there's been numerous of just droves of us that's done the same thing. And the last one also is, does Bieniemy deserves a head coaching job at some point?
Yeah. You're talking about going to University of Tennessee?
Yeah, or just in general, kids from this state. What would you tell their parents about how to deal with their kids moving forward?
Yeah. For me, it was more so just like a belief system and everything you do. My dad was always believing in me, making the different sacrifices that he had to make so I could be successful. And just understanding that, in the state of Tennessee, you can do it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we've had so many pros come out of this state, and, they're killing it, man. Mm-hmm. Absolutely killing it in the league. And your kid can definitely be the next one. He's got to believe in him. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
And then Bieniemy, what type of guy has he been for y'all in that offense and that team, and the idea of him being a head coach potentially one day in this league?
Yeah, Coach EB, man, what a great guy. I remember when I first got there, him coming up to me, he's like, son, I followed your story. You didn't even realize that, but I know you are. I've been watching you. And, just the confidence he instills in his players, the belief he has for us, and, putting us in the best position to win and doing things the right way week in and week out, those are all qualities of great leadership. And for me, he's someone I look up to, someone that, cares about us as players as well, and someone that does things the right way. So I think he, deserves the opportunity, whatever time may come. But I have nothing but good things to say about Coach EB. He's treated me nothing but great. He's done a great job this year and previous years as well.
Sure.
Trey, it's really good to have a few minutes with you. I know you can enjoy the off season a little bit, but I'm sure you can't wait to get back out there, and we'll see what kind of smack talk you have for the Bengals next year on the field,
and hopefully see you at the spring game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll pull it to the spring game. I think I'll be down there.
No doubt, Trey. Go Vols, man. That's all I got for you.
Go Vols, man. I appreciate y'all having me on today, man.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks, Trey.
That's Trey Smith. That's good stuff.